Welcome to the No Flop Zone. I'm Boti and you're taking time out with me and Joey Wright. We're going to be talking about a number of things courtesy of Built Solutions, who are sponsoring our show and who apparently, I believe, built the house for Erin Phillips and Tracy Gahan at Port Lincoln, and as a result of that had a relationship, or Steve Walker in particular, had a relationship with Erin. He's involved with Woodville. I think he had a bit to do with getting her there. They won the championship.
Yep.
Well
and
done.
She had a lot to do with it too.
She had a hell of a lot to do with it. Just bringing that poise and experience that she has from winning WNBL championships, WNBA championships, not to mention what she did in the AFLW and what she's doing now for the culture of the 36ers. So,
yeah, they definitely. It was definitely a culture change.
Well, I think we'll get to that a little bit later.
Right,
We're going to
let's
go
talk
through.
about that later.
We'll go through some of the games and some of the developments that have happened since. Let's start up with the fact that the league is talking about possibility of a team in Geelong, which is where you played your basketball in Australia. What do you think of that?
Oh, it'd be a great opportunity. Geelong's one of those towns. For me, going to Geelong, 23 years old, was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. It changed my life. The people there were just unbelievable. It has enough financial resources there, I think, to keep an NBL team.
Well, I think the key to it now is there's talk of a new building and 5,000 to 8,000 seat facility, which is what that's when the NBL's radar picks up. Like, oh, okay, that could be an option for us.
They definitely need to build a new facility. They can't play out of where we played out of. But if they do that, it's right down the street from Melbourne. It's a great location. The people there get behind their sport. If they can support an AFL team, that's a killer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But definitely, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I just want to take us back to the pre-season. You know how excited we were about this season and the new talent in and whatever, and imports are going, like the only one we had right, we both was a bit dubious about whether Renz Bleijenberg at the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, we both picked that he doesn't play any defense, he was the one that was suspect, but they're dropping like flies at the minute.
Well, yeah, it is a few that I'm surprised, but injuries probably provided some of that. But hey, it's still a long season. It's going to be a lot of legs left, so I don't think we should jump to the gun on anything right now.
Javon Freeman Liberty leaving Brisbane, they activate Lamar Patterson, who's there as their replacement import. Would you stay with him, or would you look to get someone else?
No, I do like what he's doing. Like when he comes on the court, I would just say if he can't do more of what he's doing, then you shouldn't have him. But I see him doing some nice things. I see him making some nice plays. I even seen him getting after it defensively a little bit, but he probably wouldn't be my guy. I probably wouldn't stay there. I probably would do something different.
Do you have a question mark over Jalen Adams? Because he's not bringing a lot.
Same question mark I've always had.
Yes.
I just, I don't think you can take that body language and take it anywhere else and be successful with it.
Okay, so we started off with New Zealand beating Illawarra, which to some of us was a bit of a surprise. Sam Meninga goes for 20 and Parker Jackson Cartwright 17 assists, the most in a 40-minute game. That was a pretty good performance. What did you think of Justin Tatum's post-game comments about the referees aren't looking after JaVale McGee? Because personally, I think he has been well looked after.
I think so too. I don't think he's been. I think it was some maybe some questionable hits and bumps and stuff like that, but that's nothing to do with the referee. The referee just got to call what they see and call whatever. That has nothing to do with it. That's the opposition. He's got to have somebody on his team, which is typically a guy that's probably now on the bench in Dave Hickey, that can go out there and cause a little havoc and hell for somebody else. The guys he have out there right now, there's no thug out there. There's nobody to protect McGee. It's you got to have somebody out there causing the same havoc that's being caused on the other side. The other person's job is to disrupt McGee, right? Yeah. That's their job, is to disrupt him. So I don't think it's been anything outrageous, but
no, and I like the way they recovered when they cut Ja'Cory McLaughlin and they put Tyler Harvey to the point. Like I've been critical of the fact that he's been shooting the ball a lot and sort of taking us back to the Jacob Jackamas days, and he's been a better player since, but he went back to that play. He was sharing the ball. 10 assists is the most in his career.
Yeah.
And they looked so much better in the way they totally dismantled
Well, he's
Brisbane.
played point a lot. Like he's been a point guard like most of his career. Like and you could tell he's an extremely smart player. So it's not a stretch for him to play the point. But if he's playing the point, then it's taking some options somewhere else. You know, so I think let's not try to judge them until we see when Davo get back in a different import.
Yeah, I've still got him in my 6. I absolutely do.
Yeah, I definitely got them a 6 just because of the way that just the way they're coached and the way they play. So I think they'll be there.
Brisbane, on the other hand, 8-0 start for Illawarra. Casey Prather hits the basket. Now another 14-0 run. It's 22-2, and we're in the first quarter. Like, have you ever found yourself in a comparable situation? Because that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, one year we played Perth, and it was one of those games we played up in Darwin somewhere, and Ricky was on a tear, and it started off, I don't know, something crazy, 15-0, and then we scored a couple, and then it was another 15-point run. We're down 30 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So I have been in that situation before. You can try to salvage, but that's one of those games where afterwards I said, let's not talk about it and keep it moving. It was just one of those games.
They're 1-4 now. They've got next couple of games of Perth and Melbourne. Looking at 1-6.
We say that all the time. They can squeak one of those and get one of those. But I mean, at the end of the day, we thought they would finish somewhere down around the bottom, and I don't see any change. I just don't see any fight in them. I see some guys fighting, like I see Casey Prather out there playing his butt off.
Yep.
Terrell Harrison's out there trying to.
Oh, I'm backing off Terrell Harrison because I thought JaVale McGee scared the bejesus out of him. Like he was playing like a fumbly kid. Oh, look, I'm being guarded by JaVale McGee. I'll get a couple of fouls and get the hell out of here. That's what he looked like. And he didn't look much different against Will Magnay the game before. So one guy is the guy that he was understudy to, and the next guy is an NBA champion. And I thought he went out there with a turtle head in his pants. He didn't look anything like the Terrell Harrison that we've been expecting.
No, he doesn't, but everybody can have a bad game.
Yeah, but that was so specific to his opponent.
Well, maybe. Could have had a bad game specific to his opponent.
Yeah, okay. All right. I mean, I'm not off Terrell Harrison. I still think he's a very
he's
good
a player.
player.
He's a player, and we can't allow him to have a bad game or even, I mean, you've been a player before. You're going up against someone the first time of that magnitude may have rattled him. The next time he settles in and plays against him. But, yeah, first time jitters, fair enough.
If he's not on and you've got Jalen Adams playing the way he is, they're looking at the last place, bottom run.
I don't think any of that gets better until Jalen Adams is out.
Okay.
And I don't think he's out anytime soon. I think they just got to live with that for the whole year.
Okay. Melbourne United, their 2 performances were so clinical, so good. Did you see them both? Because what they did to Sydney and Cairns was embarrassing.
I think that Walker is better than anybody's talking about. The point guard for them, like he's doing what he's doing with ease and ain't even causing any trouble for anybody else. He's not. I mean, before when you had guys come in like Casper Ware come in there and these guys make big noise and they doing the same as this guy. And he's doing it very quiet, very efficiently, and just getting the job done, hitting big shots when he need to, and playing great defense as well. And that guy, I think, is the whole difference for them this year.
Yeah, I felt in the Sydney game he really was all over Matthew Dellavedova to the point where Dellavedova's 4th foul was an unsportsmanlike, and it took me back to the Dirty Delhi days. And then his 5th foul was another really physical contact one on Tyson Walker. So that's twice he sort of tried to flatten him, and that's the way it looked. And I thought, wow, if you've sort of got him riled up to that point.
Yeah. But just still offensively, getting up, setting things up, getting to where it needs to be. Takes the right shots. Like I don't even think I've seen him take but maybe one questionable shot. And the rest of them have been perfect shots, and he's hitting a high percentage of it.
And then you got Jesse Edwards in the middle, who I really like. I like that whole broad-shouldered, athletic guy. I think we're talking about Joe Lualachul and JaVale McGee and a lot of other guys, but he's a very good player. And then you add Milton Doyle. That's the best import combination in the league.
That is, without a doubt. They nailed it at every single spot with those 3 imports.
I think Dean's doing a hell of a job there. What they did to Cairns was an embarrassment to Cairns, but Do you think there's any risk? Because at the start of the season, we're talking about this is going to be the most even season. We've got great imports. We've got this and that. Melbourne United have separated themselves completely from the rest of the pack. I mean, the only other team that I think is close to their level when they're fully fit will be Tasmania.
Well, you still got, just once again, we still got a long season
hell
to
yeah.
go.
Hell yeah.
And Adelaide still can add another player.
Need to.
I think they need to as well. But if they can add another player to that mix, impact player for whatever they need, whatever they want, then I think it gets scary pretty quick, because Flynn is playing Flynn is, probably
He's
second
who we
best player on the
expected
team
him.
right now.
He's who we expected him to be.
We expected him to do that. We did expect him to do that. I think they got and I'd be tearing up that contract right now and saying, hey, let's stay here for a while, buddy. I don't know how long he's on, but whatever he's on, I'm trying to keep him here as long as I can until he gets a chance at the NBA.
See, I'm looking at, I think they need a Trey Kell type to make that team a real contender. I can't see that team as it is right now. No Montrezl Harrell, because that was a different situation when we had him there. Without that sort of player there, they can't win that. They will not win the championship. But if they bring in a really complimentary guard and somebody's prepared to sacrifice.
Somebody's got to sacrifice.
I think that should be Vasiljevic, to be honest.
I think it should be DJ as well. Selling DJ that and saying to DJ, hey, this has nothing to do with your ability to play the game. What we're trying to do is get you more timely shots. And we can't do that in the first 5 minutes of the game. We start to overlap with Cotton and his production. Let's do this. It's been some very prominent, awesome players to come off the bench. Ebby Arad came off the bench for me and averaged 29 points a game.
Right.
We won a championship because he decided to sacrifice.
Yes.
If Ebby didn't decide to sacrifice that, we'd never win that championship.
Well, that Adelaide win over Tasmania was the Bryce game, because Bryce Cotton's gone for 29 and 9 and Bryce Hamilton's gone for 22 and 9. It was like the Bryces, here they are. The Bryce is right. They were good. I did think for the first time Scott Roth made a couple of blues. I thought Ben Ayre was great in the third quarter, really picked them up, a couple of threes and some free throws got them going. But I think when you only play a certain amount of time in a game, that's what you're fit and ready for. I thought in the last quarter he looked tired, and you've got Tiger Campbell sitting off, you've got TJ Starks sitting off. So I'm thinking, maybe he made a blue there. Well,
TJ Starks is so good, and I know it was something. He took some poor shots, and I know that's probably going against Scott's philosophy. But I like to win the game, and then let's talk about it afterwards. Yes. I don't like throwing one away. And I think if Starks is in there, that might be a little different look, because they ran through a patch where they couldn't get buckets.
Yes.
And he can go get a bucket. If he gets hot, yeah, I definitely saw what I think maybe Scott's response was. I don't know that for sure, but it looked like it was 2 or 3 poor shots in a row, and maybe yanked as a result of that.
I did see an interview with him where he said TJ still got to pick up their defensive systems. So he said that was what impacted on his time in that game. But I just thought even Tiger Campbell was off a little bit too long, maybe.
I want to see more production out of Tiger, though. I mean, we need. I mean, you need to be getting 10 points a game and knocking down some timely shots. And I mean, he's gotten in paint 3, 4, 5 times, not really completing that. A little more out of him. We need a little bit more out of him.
Can't do much when he's doing what we're doing right now, sitting. All right, let's go to Cairns. And you've got Jack McVeigh on the wing, you're 3 points down, and you're Andrew Andrews, and you don't know anything about NBL history because you've got to pass it to Jack McVeigh. You have to. You're 3 down. Whether he makes it or not, he's the guy on that team with the best chance of making it.
At this point, I think it's probably something physically injured with Jack, and probably wouldn't allow him to shoot that, because Jack's not shooting a lot of the 3 balls right now. A lot of stuff is around the rim. It's a low production. I know Jack well enough to know, and we definitely know 40 well enough to know that if everything's healthy and all good, Jack's getting up a few more shots than what he's been, a lot more shots than what he's been up to. So something must be going on there.
I don't like the way they're using him, though. I think a lot of the time it's give him the ball and say, all right, Jack, go to work, show us what you got. And he'll turn around, he'd look to take his opponent, and within seconds, the second defender's there. There was one time he was in the key against Melbourne United. He turned to shoot. He had 4 guys on him. 4.
Well, I definitely, one, players have to go through an adjustment year. When you go from being one of the superstars to the superstar. That's definitely an adjustment period. But I think if we look at the way he played and they played in the first couple games, there's got to be something going on because he's now closer to the bucket on everything.
Yeah.
He's not popping out on those and looking for the shot, none of that stuff. So something's going on there, in my opinion, that's probably affecting that.
Okay, but it's not helped also by the fact that Rain Smith can't buy a bucket and just keep shooting the thing. I mean, if he's open, most of the time, if he's wide open, he can nail it. But if he's got a hand in his face or he's being contested, that's going anywhere.
See, 40 uses a philosophy, and I use it a lot too, and especially with young guys. Like young guys, we're not losing this game because of you, but we can win it because of you.
Mm-hmm.
So you go out there and play, be free. I don't want mistakes from anxiety. I want mistakes from
Pushing it too hard.
Yeah, going too hard. And then you can rein that player back in, over the year or over the course of a year.
That's what I've been saying, rein Smith in.
He need to. Because he is, some of those shots are like, ugh,
Yeah. And then you got Admiral Schofield, who's, he could stand up next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, big, beefy boy. He's out there and taking threes. Admiral, get inside.
Yeah.
You're
especially
all at
when
sea.
it's not working.
Yeah.
Say that again.
You're all at sea.
You're all at sea. I think when it's working, it looks good. Like he pops out there and he don't hit the rim on that thing. It's looking good. But when it's not, man, you big enough. Go get something around the bucket. Go get something closer to the rim.
And I feel the same about Rob Baker at New Zealand. He loves his three-point shot, and he's a good three-point shooter too. But I don't see him working in the key way enough. You've got to sort of have an outside-inside.
One of the things that I get a little, just players get me upset with in today's game, and I know I'm sounding old here or whatever, but don't just be one trick pony.
Yes.
Like I was a scorer.
Yep.
Like I didn't. Like my three ball was off tonight. So what? I don't care if my three ball was off. I'm still getting buckets. If I'm in and around the paint and that's not working, I'm gonna find a way to affect the score line as an import, especially in the '90s. We had to, or you going on.
Yeah.
So one game I'm 2 for 20 something against Melbourne. I still finished with 30.
A lot of free throws.
A lot of free throws. You got to find a way at some point.
Okay, Joey.
I thought Bryce was close to breaking that record. He had 11 in the first quarter.
Yeah. But how's that? He gets that many free throws in one game, and then 2 nights later, he gets 3 free throws when they're really playing. Yeah.
Bull Call playing boxing matchup.
Yeah. And honestly, that's both of those extremes are ridiculous.
Those are ridiculous extremes because the Sydney game was definitely more physical than any game we've seen this year. My God, it was like Bryce had, everything's about matchups, and in that game or any game where Bryce has 4 guys that can guard him on the opposing team that are all bigger and more athletic, it's going to affect his ability to score.
And
when other people aren't scoring. Other people got to pick up that slack in that scenario.
Well, you had a bit more of an insight into the Kings this particular game, didn't you, because of the training situation? So did you watch their training? Or
I did. I went down and took a look at their training and just, when I go there, I don't even look at what they do and what their game plan is and none of that stuff. The only thing I'm really going for is just to see the feel of the team, just get a feel of the team. And I will say Kendrick Davis, while he did not give a lot of energy, he did not absorb any energy. He did exactly what Gorge wanted him to do. He spoke up during the walkthrough and gave some great suggestions on some things that they probably should look at doing. That, for us in the NBL or FIBA basketball, that's all he really needs to do, okay? He's not supposed to give that energy and joy or whatever. He doesn't. That's not really a responsibility of his. If you can find someone that does it, great. But in the NBA, they want that. For a guy that's not going to play much, you better bring something else. Yeah. And that's what he's...
Patty waving the towel back in the day.
Exactly. Yeah. Patty was smart enough to do it. ML Carr back in the day, just getting it done.
My wife used to think his name was Emile, the French name. She'd say, why do they keep calling him Emil Carr? I said, because it's actually Michael Leonard or whatever it was. Oh, right.
Did World Be Free get her?
No, not as much as Meta World Peace.
Meta World Peace.
There's some good names out there. All right, let's look at Southeast Melbourne because they've got a new import that'll play his first game against Adelaide on tonight. And where's...
I haven't seen him. Have you seen him?
No, I haven't seen him. Seen a bit of footage of him. It looks like he's a player and a
what
scorer.
Position?
He's a wing. He's about 6'6".
That's what they need.
And yeah, he can
They need
score.
a go-get-it guy. A guy that you can throw the ball to and go get it. Right now they got Sobey, and that's probably it. But they need a guy you can pitch that ball to and go get it. So hopefully he can do that.
I like the fact that in beating New Zealand, all of their starters were in double figures. Don't like the fact that nobody else was.
Look, you don't like the fact nobody else was, but those guys did the job and got it done. That game against New Zealand is what I say about Phoenix. They're well coached and they play hard. So they're going to win a game or 2 or 3 or 4. I think they'll probably get 4 a year that they're not supposed to get. They weren't supposed to win that game.
No, I didn't expect so.
No.
Not after they beat Illawarra, and we saw in the interview, they talked about, in the post-game interview, the New Zealand guys were talking about how they had a team meeting and had a bit of a soul search and decided, who do we want to be? And then they went and showed that against Illawarra. And for a big stretch of the game against South East Melbourne, they were looking pretty good. Sam Menenga was having the game of his career. Then to sort of drop that, that's not a game you would have expected Phoenix to get, especially in those circumstances.
Look, I've had a lot of meetings over the years, all right? And when you have to meet to say, who do we want to be or how hard we want to play, you got a problem. Now, you can meet to say, hey, we want this guy to get a little bit more shots, and we want you to do this, and we need a little bit more defense out of you, and a little bit more specific. And coach, you got to calm down, and coach, you got to go harder, or whatever it may be. But if it's about playing hard, it ain't gonna happen. You shouldn't have to meet about playing hard.
Yeah, Isaiah Brockington's in a bit of a slump. He started that game against Illawarra like he was going to set a new record, and then got into a bit of foul trouble, and then subsequent to that, he's struggling. He doesn't look like the guy he did in the Blitz.
Preseason, in preseason was really tough and getting buckets, but hadn't lived up to it so far.
The last game though, United Cairns. Do we even want to talk about that? That was just so bad, and they were so disrupted, and they had nothing. I'm talking about Cairns because United is fabulous at the moment.
United was fabulous, and you look at one team playing really well, and United and one team playing really bad in Cairns. What was scary for me is I like looking at it, go like, where do you go? Like, what do you do with that? Because it was nothing. Like it was nothing there. Yeah. Nothing looked like it worked that night. And you have those, like you'll have one or two of those a year, but we said Kansas, I feel like are going to be one of those teams that's beat somebody they shouldn't and lose horribly. And I think that's where they're going to be all year.
How seamlessly did Chris Goulding fit straight back in? It was, it was like, and now we've still got Shea Lee sitting on the. Oh, wow,
I know Shea Lee's still over there as well. Chris fit back in seamlessly, but I saw what he was doing. He's just out there getting his checks in. He's checking. He's seeing where he's at, what's going on with his body, where he's at, where his shots can come from for the team. He did a couple silly things, and then some really, 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 really good things that you go, wow, that team is going to be tough to beat.
Okay, it's time for Built Solutions. Build your team. We're both going to pick 5 players from the last round that we're reasonably impressed with.
Build Solutions, as you know, I worked in real estate for 7 straight years and didn't do anything related to basketball. And in that time, I worked for a builder. And what Built Solutions does that's different is you can come in and bring your plans in, and they got an architect that'll sit there and work with you, and you can tweak and move stuff around. And then they can also, have a plan for you that's already established and something they can look at and take you through and make tweaks to it. The ability to live in a house that you created, that you put the tweaks in and you did. I mean, I've done that before where I built my own home before, and it's a different sense of pride. Just, even if it's just a wall that you moved, 4 inches, everyone comes in that house, you're going to say, hey, I moved this wall over 4 inches just so I could do this.
I helped build this house. This house where I actually helped build it.
This cabinet in Tasmania.
No, not our cabinet, just outside Hobart. This actual one.
And that's what Build Solutions do for you. Just give you more opportunity, more range to make that home personalized in your particular home, so that you feel a sense of pride when you're in there. And Build Solutions, best people to do it for.
Build me a 5 from this round.
Tyson Walker.
Right.
I really just like what he did. And we probably could build 10 for this round, to be honest with you. And some guys that are definitely not on this list. But JaVale McGee, I'm just a dominant player. He's really teaching our bigs some things they need to do out there. Who else? Flynn Cameron.
Yep.
I think right now is second best player on LA's team, and he's showing it every time. And the other night he was best player. And for a second-year guy in the league, that says, speaks volumes for where he's at and where he's going to go. Who else we got on there?
I think you've got Kendrick Davis on there.
I do. Does that surprise?
It surprises me, but I don't know if it'll surprise our audience.
Look, I can say when I'm wrong. In this game, I was wrong. I think he went out and showed a lot of poise, and he played really well and got after it, kept his head down, did the right things. I particularly liked how he approached the game coming in. I thought Casey threw him a few fully charged questions that he was smart enough to dodge. So Kendrick Davis, and then my last one is
Bull Quall.
Bull Quall. Got to give Bull Quall some props because he was just wearing Cotton of it. He was just all over him, legally and illegal.
Yeah.
But he was all over him.
Well, that's the Brian Goorjian way.
Yeah.
And the way that performance by Sydney against Adelaide was like going back to the
That
Magic
was old Brian
days.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's old Brian days.
And it was great to see.
Yeah.
I was thrilled for him and for his team. They were so well prepared, so on point, so focused. It was really good. And Bull Quall without bull crap is really good.
Yeah, well, off those excessive, stupid fouls that pull him off the court, But he still had Galloway there to help out. He still had Cooks there to help out. They didn't have little Brucey either. Now, Brucey he's an antagonizer, and he was missing. So
yeah, but the two guys you mentioned, Galloway and Cooks, those rejects by Zill and Cheatham, the one where Galloway's going for a two-handed dunk on the baseline, I said no, and the one with Cooks has cocked it back coming down the lane, Statue of Liberty, no.
The timing
Cheatham.
for that is like you get one of them a year. To get two in a game is incredible. Like the timing to be able to do that is unbelievable.
I believe it was in the same quarter.
Yeah, I think it was in the same quarter. Yeah,
amazing. All right.
Xylem you can probably put on this list every week too.
My five are Tyson Walker. Oh, because I'm with you. I'm seeing what he's doing. I thought Owen Foxwell was terrific. Sam Meninga had two very good games.
Yeah, he completely dominated that Illawarra. Was it the Illawarra game? No.
It was he actually went well against Illawarra, 20 points, but it was 29 and double-figure rebounds against Southeast Melbourne as well, which was a terrific game. I think he might have even got a bit more had he not. He looked tired. He looked like he was at the end of his tether. Dylan Windler, who I think we've not really mentioned enough because I think since his first game, he's been very, very good for them. And we tend to overlook Joe Luwala-Kuel Jr., 30 points, double-figure rebounds.
Only because I can't say his name, so.
Just say JLA. Or
JLA?
If you prefer Marvel, say the Avengers.
No, he's a fabulous player and should get recognition.
All right, we've got a couple of viewers' topics. We're sort of running out of time. Keep sending them, though. We love them, and we'll get to them. We might even just end up doing a show about viewers' topics.
Just viewer topics, that'd be great.
As a special for you. But Michael says, can we talk about the constant chat from coaches saying we want to play fast and get up and down the floor? Now, we know in the NBL, defense wins championships, but there's only about 6 possessions difference in a fast and a slow team in the NBL. So while
most teams are playing faster now. When I got to the league, my advantage as a coach was I won 4 or 5 games a year because we played fast and other teams just wasn't used to it. And when I first came to the league, it was a 48-minute game, so you could run over people. We practiced at a high pace and played at a high pace. Teams that didn't do that, we could run over the top of them and get some wins. Now, pretty much everybody plays at a pretty quick tempo in the NBL. So it's not necessarily an advantage anymore. But he's right. It's not that much difference between one team and another team. I mean, Jack Jumpers would technically be probably the slowest possession team, and they probably wouldn't be much difference than a Cairns or a Melbourne.
Every coach seems to say this, the same thing when they're appointed. What are you going to bring, coach? And they'll say, we're going to play hard-nosed D, and we're going to get out and run and have fun. That's like, standard coach comment 101.
Yeah, that's true. I've probably said that a number of times.
Okay, we've got Artie says, I noticed the trades topic keeps being brought up on the show quite often. Just quick segue, they're talking about it now in the NBL. They are talking about trades. Is it that being a possibility. Anyway, Artie's question is, if NBL had a trade system, I think DJ makes sense to be traded away from Adelaide right now.
Ooh.
My question is, who'd be a good replacement for him in return if that was possible? I got one for you. Trade him for Kendrick Davis. Sorry. Sorry. My apologies.
You're going to start a fight again.
No. I tell you, I would trade Mike Wells for Stu Lash. Again,
Stu, Vandy, D-Man.
Yeah, bring the three in.
It's all three.
Sorry, who do you reckon?
I wouldn't trade him to start with, but if I had to trade him, I would bring in a more defensive guy. I'd say, hey, give me a couple $100,000, give me $100,000, and give me Ben Air, and you can take DJ, but you got to throw me some cash as well.
All right, so that would be the trade.
Yeah.
Ben and money for.
Yeah, I need some money.
Interesting.
You think it's straight up?
Hey?
You think it's a straight up trade?
No. I'm just interested in that.
Who would you bring? Don't put me on the spot.
Well, it was the question is really directed at you because
it wasn't directed at me. It was a general question.
No, but I'm very much. We talked about it last week. You talked about it at length about trades and what it brings to the public as well. That conversation of who should we and what. I think it's a really good idea and one that the league is overdue to have done.
You have dodged the question. Yes, we've already agreed the trades would be good, but who would you bring in for DJ?
I wouldn't bring anyone in from DJ. What I would do is I would put him on.
But you got to answer the question. You got to answer. This dude is a politician. You a politician or you a journo? Which one?
Look, he's one of the 3 captains, and one of the 7 vice captains would be very unhappy.
As I said, I wouldn't trade him, but who would you trade him for? This guy. Yeah. Don't worry about it, folks. We'll get to that.
Well, no, I haven't thought about it because I wouldn't trade him. So you're asking me to come up with a hypothetical that I haven't conceived. Like you'd have to look around. No, I wouldn't trade him. So that'd be my answer. If the question is who would you trade him for, I wouldn't.
But you got to answer.
That is the answer.
This dude.
Yeah.
My goodness.
This is an American.
I had to answer the question.
It was directed at you.
All right, go. What's the next question?
Next question, we'll be back in a minute to talk about match of the round. All right, we've got 2 games that we like for match of the round. Joey likes Sydney-Perth.
I like Sydney-Perth. I think just it's going to be a lot of big bodies out there, a lot of athleticism, a lot of length, and hopefully we'll have Sunday back for that game. So Sunday's back out there. We can provide more defense and just some great basketball. So I think that'll be great. And
that will be on Sunday in Sydney, which gives them, I think, maybe a slight edge. I don't know.
Let's throw
Melbourne
it to Sydney.
And Cairns.
That's going to go either way. But let's throw it to Sydney. They're on the road. They had a good game, and they're back at home.
My game of the round is South East Melbourne, Illawarra. I think this is a nice...
South East Melbourne and Illawarra.
Yeah, I think this is a good test for both teams as to where they might sit. Illawarra is still looking for that extra point guard import. So not quite where they want to be, but they really did look good against Brisbane in the new setup. And South East Melbourne are doing enough right. I want to see how the new import impacts. Where's Iwundu, how he impacts on them. So I think that'll be a good game. I'm just going to, you said earlier that South East Melbourne will win a couple of games just because they come and play hard. I'm going to predict this is one of those.
Let's go.
That's it from us. Thank you to Built Solutions. If you haven't subscribed yet, why not join the gang? See you next time.